It took me an embarrassing amount of time to figure out the things that are on this list today that are going to save you literally years of your life if you wrestle with yourself to have the discipline to watch until the end of this relatively short video. The first thing is that nobody cares as much as you think. Don't worry about if you like a certain article of clothing or you want to get an ear pierced or get a tattoo. Nobody cares. You're going to not do it and be nervous because you think people are really thinking about you and they're really concerned about what you're going to do. They're not. And that's not a bad thing. There's this thing called optimistic nihilism. And this is, again, a term that if I had known earlier, I would have saved myself so much time. What this means is that nothing really matters because eventually everyone's going to pass away and everyone who remembers them is going to pass away and so on and so forth. You can be optimistic about that. Go out and just do the thing. Who cares if anyone judges you? It does not matter. Nobody cares now. Nobody will care then. And so don't let that hold you back from chasing your dreams or pursuing the girl or the guy or whatever it is you want to do. Don't let this stuff stop you because you think everyone cares. No one does. And on that note, so many people spend money on fancy clothes and fast cars and all these things that they think are going to impress people. But the reality is people aren't impressed because nobody cares. If you're starting a business, so consider that in your marketing efforts. You can try and sell something that you think is really cool, but if the people watching don't think it's cool, if it doesn't do something for them, because people are selfish, they're not going to care. Take that into consideration when you're doing so many different things. You get people's opinions, get people's attention, but again, nobody really cares. People are selfish and you can use that to your advantage. Now, the second thing is something that's really personal to my heart. This is that discipline will beat motivation 100% of the time, okay? Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision. Motivation is, I feel like doing something and so I'm going to do it. You're really motivated. You're trying to get in the mood to do something. Discipline, however, is regardless of how you feel, you go and do the thing anyway. All big goals, all big things that you might want to achieve, there's going to be times where you're motivated, there's going to be times when you're not. And sometimes even motivation can be a bad thing because you might be motivated in the wrong direction. There's this really famous saying that inspiration is the enemy of the artist. It means that if an artist shows up one day to paint a beautiful picture, a beautiful painting, and then the next day they get inspired to paint a different beautiful painting, they're motivated to paint this other painting, and then the third day they're motivated again in another direction. They're not really much of a painter because they never finish anything. If they were disciplined and they stuck to the thing that they are supposed to be doing, the thing that they committed to begin with, then they would see results. Now that is a metaphor for everything in your life. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain more money? Do you want any of these things? Then you need to be disciplined in attacking those goals. You can't just hope that they happen and wait for motivation to strike because it never strikes when you want it to. How many people that you know have said that they're going to do X or do Y and they never do? It's not because they're not motivated, it's because they don't have the discipline, the decision to do something in spite of the fact that you're not motivated to do it. That's what discipline is. This brings me to the next thing that I wish I had known earlier is that your time is more valuable than your money. Why is money even valuable in the first place? Is because it can buy time. You might think, no, it's so I can go buy my coffee and go out to dinner and whatever it is you do. All of that is time. When you buy coffee, really what you're buying is you're buying an employee to pour the coffee for you and hand it to you. And even before that, have the coffee bean farmer get the coffee bean and transport it and all these people's time that goes into this thing. And so what is important is your time. Now you get to a point where you start making a certain amount of money where now you're just like, okay, if I made more and more money, it doesn't actually give me any more benefit because all you need now is time. Time you can never get back. Money you can always get more of. Now I trust you're already familiar with this idea, but I really want to go into it so you understand. So many people just want to make more. They don't have a number. Do you want to make $500,000? Do you want to make $10 million? Do you want to make another $20? What is it? If you don't have a number and you just endlessly pursue money without thinking about time, you're going to waste your time to get your money. And then what's going to happen? You're going to have money and no time. Awesome. What are you going to do with it then? Then neither become valuable, right? You don't have time or money. And that's all because you were chasing money. But if you pursue really paying attention to your time, that is where the true benefits come. That is where the true beauty of life is. The next thing is that no one is coming to save you. This means that it is only you that can actually pull you out of the hole you're in. I don't care what it is you do, what it is you're addicted to, what bad habits you have. No one is coming to throw you that rope and say, hey, climb on out. When you become an adult, right? And especially when you're a young adult, this is something that really will shock you to find out, is that no one's coming to save you. You have this habit of waiting for people to save you, but the sooner you realize that no one is coming and it has to be you have to look in the mirror and realize that's the only person that can help me. That is when you're going to take action. That is when things are going to happen. All the dreams that you've wanted to have. I remember when I was younger, right? I was 20 years old and I wanted a business of a certain size. And then 21 happened, 22 happened, 23 happened, 24 happened, 25 happened, and I didn't have it. It kept going by and none of it happened. It's because I was waiting for someone to give it to me. I was waiting for someone to invite me. Hey, here's your business for you, right? Inviting me to step into my own life. Doesn't make any sense. You have to be the person to do it. If you're overweight, if you're insecure, if you're broke, the reality is that you have to be the person. And the earlier you understand this, the better. And it took me 30 years to find this out. But you watching, you know this now. The last point that I want to leave you with, this might be the most important one. Happiness does not come from achievements. Now, you might think that happiness comes from achievements, doing something and being like, wow, I did it, awesome. But achievements are so fickle because you have them temporarily. You achieve something and then what? You look back on your achievements and are you really happy? You might have good memories, right? It might be nice to think about those things, but are you really happy? Not really, because then it's on to the next achievement. So where does happiness come from? Happiness comes from making progress. If you're someone who goes to the gym, you might want to reach, let's say 200 pounds or whatever it is for you. You reach 200 pounds and you get on the scale, it says 200 pounds and you put on some exercise and you feel good. You look in the mirror, you feel good. Awesome. But how quickly is that gone? And then what? Then you're left with nothing. And there's so many people that will tell this story. They will tell this story of they worked so hard, they had this goal, they set it out, and then they hit their goal, and then they felt empty. And why did they feel empty? Why did they feel hollow? Is because their whole life was set on this one goal. And then they hit that goal, and then what? They needed to set another goal. And so really where the happiness could have come from is from the progress of realizing that you're getting better and better and stronger and stronger. It's the same thing with money. So many people, actually really, really famous people, and some of these books behind me, some of these really smart people have written about how you should set your goal so much higher than what you actually think you're going to achieve. It's because if you say, I want to make an extra $1,000 a month, that would be amazing. As soon as you hit that $1,000, then what? You're going to have so much less purpose to keep pursuing getting that $1,000 every month. You might get it for a couple of months and then it's kind of old. You hit your goal, who cares, right? You kind of just fall into old habits. But if you set your goal at, I want to make $500,000 a month, that's a lot harder to hit. It takes a lot longer. And on the way, you know what you're going to hit? You're going to hit the 1,000. And so what's going to happen is this huge goal that's still in line with what you want. If you set your goal really low and something that's too achievable, too quickly attainable, you'll reach it and you won't sustain it, or it won't bring you happiness for very long. You won't feel fulfilled. The word that we all really care about, fulfillment. So how do you get it? You realize that it's in progress. And so if you want to set a goal, that's awesome. Set a goal, set a high goal, but understand that if you achieve it too early or ever, you won't feel that happy for very long. And I know that I said that last one was the last point, but I'm going to leave you with the bonus one because this is one that really did change my life now that I think about it. Systems are more important than goals. Systems are the thing that you keep showing up and showing up and showing up and doing. Eventually you'll hit your goal, but if you have a system, something that you make habitual, then you'll go way further than you ever expect, right? It's the system. It's the fact that you just keep showing up. Your inputs are what determine your outputs. If I understood that earlier, I wouldn't have been so obsessed with being like, I want a Ferrari, I want a Lamborghini, I want that goal, because that didn't get me to where I wanted to be. It was the system. This is going back to a point that we mentioned earlier, that discipline is so important. So if you're disciplined with a system, you will eventually hit that goal. And so create systems around the things that you really want. All these points that I mentioned, these are all things that it took me 30 years to tell you. It took me 30 years to tell myself. And honestly, it's embarrassing to admit that. But the fact that I can share this with you in about a 10-minute long video, that is incredible. And that is something that I'm so proud to do here today. But what would make me even more proud, even happier, is if I knew that you were taking these points and really applying them to your life. So now it's only in your hands. Like I mentioned, no one is coming to save you. You need to take this advice and apply it. Don't just swipe to the next video. Apply this advice, recognize this advice, and use this advice.